Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Kusham Orca, and I am your uh, lecturer for this afternoon. This is one of the topics for your national exams, part one. Just a short part of your lecture would be on influenza and influenza-like infection. But to keep in mind, there are a lot of topics within acute care, a total of 15 points, but so don't be heavily invested with just this topic. Tignan na natin kung ano yung mga importanteng points about influenza and influenza-like illness. This lecture is a bit short, and if you want to read more, you could go to the compendium from the Department of Health. I will show you the exact title of the document from the OH, which is referenced also from your blueprint. Okay, so again, you can download the entire interim guidelines for prevention, control, and management at the DOH website. So this is a starter. You have a 34-year-old male presenting with cough, sore throat, lethargy, and anosmia, and ageusia. This is most likely pathogen involved. Obvious answer there would be COVID-19. Again, the takeaway there is anosmia and ageusia. This is the table presented in the interim guidelines for influenza and influenza-like illnesses. I want you to focus on the components of okay, the components of our COVID, no, for the laser pointed top. COVID presents with runny nose, sore throat, cough, wheezes, sometimes lethargy, body aches, fever, with or without GI symptoms. But take note that COVID more presents with the loss of taste, ageusia, and smell or anosmia. So that is one unique presentation of COVID. For influenza, it presents with cough, colds, hoarseness, or coryza, and congestion. Diba, mga 4Cs usually nakikita din dyan with noted sore throat and diarrhea. They differ also with incubation periods, with the longest would be COVID, up to 2 weeks. The shortest would be for flu and parainfluenza, 2 days, 6 days. So usually hindi naman yung tinatanong. Ang importanteng matanong dyan would be transmission. So for transmission, droplets in close contact for influenza. The rest are droplet contamination of surfaces. Okay, and something different from the rest. Vaccine availability, COVID has available vaccines. RSV is available in the US, and influenza is available. So you have to also be familiar with the type of vaccine. So influenza, or is it yearly? Yes, it's yearly. And there's a treatment for influenza, empiric treatment, ideally within the 48-hour limit, specifically giving your oseltamivir and supportive care. For COVID, meron din tayong living recommendations for COVID-19. You can check that out also in the DOH website. Another question, Maya is a 31-year-old nurse who had been vaccinated last February for influenza. However, her husband recently contacted with the illness, specifically influenza. She does, no, she does not have any symptoms at all. A family doc, as a family doctor, what is your plan for chemoprophylaxis? So the question here is, what is the dose of the antiviral for chemoprophylaxis? Magkaiba po yan, so it's important to take note the dosage of chemoprophylaxis versus treatment. So ito, for chemoprophylaxis or post-exposure, there are two considerations. Either you give it, okay, if nakuha niya na yung bakuna. Kung wala pa siyang bakuna, give the vaccine, okay, and you give the chemoprophylaxis. In the case of Maya, meron na siyang bakuna noon, but she is asymptomatic, but is exposed in the household from his husband who was diagnosed with influenza. So, better you give also your chemoprophylaxis. Okay? Another thing is, if let's say si Maya, wala siyang bakuna, pero contraindicated siya yung vaccine, you give the chemoprophylaxis. Instances na wala namang bakuna, okay, si Maya, at hindi available sa area nila, you provide the chemoprophylaxis. Okay? Or if say meron siyang history na nabigyan ng vaccine pero hindi naging effective, you give still your post-exposure prophylaxis. Now, if let's say in the situation ni Maya, meron siyang bakuna. Okay, he is an adult or a children greater than 3 months with the following. Uh, Either unvaccinated or with influenza vaccine. Ito, wala siyang bakuna, no? Kung wala siyang bakuna, bigyan siya ng bakuna plus chemoprophylaxis. Okay? Recommended dosages for your chemoprophylaxis. Ito yung question kanina. So, oseltamivir is once a day for 7 days. Okay, 75 milligrams. That's different from your treatment dose of oseltamivir, which is twice a day for 7 days. We'll check that out later. The only drug that is available in the country is oseltamivir. Okay. For pregnant women, similar, 75 milligram orally once daily for 7 and may extend to 10 days. For children, 3 to 11 months, 3 milligram per kilogram per dose once daily for 7 days. Okay. You check out the dosage accordingly to do weight. Zanamivir is an inhalation, usually 10 milligrams inhalation once daily, or dalawang 5 milligram inhalations once daily. Okay, so the correct answer there was oseltamivir, 75 milligram once daily for 7 days. Again, 15 points, pero konti lang yung baka pwedeng makuha dun sa questions na yan. Now, who are patients at risk with influenza complications? They are listed on the table on Appendix T on the guidelines. So those are adults with 65 years old and older, children younger than 2 years old. Patient is asthmatic, and then neurodevelopmental conditions with plus disorders, chronic lung diseases, endocrine disorders, heart disease, kidney disease, liver disorders, metabolic disorders. More likely, parang kung meron silang chronic conditions, papasok siya. So, you have to be familiar with this table. If, let's say, for example, they warrant antiviral treatment. Again, iba ang antiviral treatment dose sa chemoprophylaxis, especially if they develop symptoms. Okay, so if they develop symptoms and uh, they are part of this population, special population, you give the antiviral treatment for influenza. Other than that, if they are not part of the group, high risk group, providing supportive treatment is warranted. Kasi medyo mahal din yung gamot. Okay, other members would be the following. So do keep in mind, we could review this slide. Now the dosage for treatment for influenza, oseltamivir 75 mg twice a day for 5 days. And it may be extended to 10 days, considered if the patient's condition is severe or if immunocompromised. For dosage pa rin, similar, 3 milligrams per kilogram for children, 3 to 11. Okay, orally twice a day. So, nagbago lang yung dosage, frequency. Zanavivir, same din ang dose, pero frequency, nag-increase to twice a day. Again, 5 days to, may extend to 10 days. Okay. The other medications worth mentioning, Paremivir and Baloxavir. Now, ito naman, usually hindi naman ito lumalabas sa exams, but it's important to know the definition of influenza-like illnesses. So, ELI suspect is a person with acute respiratory symptoms with the following. Should be all. Okay, fever of more than 38, cough or sore throat, and with symptoms within the last 2 days. Suspect. But let's say, for example, your suspect also has other features. Let's say it belongs to a specific population, elder, okay, person older than 5 years old, and with all of the following. So, fever, 10 days, and requires hospitalization. Okay, it's also another consideration. 2 to 5 years old, sa mga pediatric patients to, with an RR of greater than 60 on the age less than 2 months. So, check out the respiratory rate when it comes to 2 months to 5 years old. It can be a consideration of suspect. And then also identify following danger signs: unable to drink, vomits every time, convulsions, and lethargic unconsciousness. Now, for probable cases, persons fitting the definition of a suspect case, fulfilling all the criteria: clinical radiological features, close contact with the laboratory confirmed case, and conditions not already explained by other conditions. Okay, if let's say for example highly suspicious ka, that suspect case can be escalated to a probable case. Now, if na-confirm na siya by means of a PCR or a diagnostic test, it's called a confirmed case. Now, if you have three or more cases that are within a same setting or a community, like a classroom and a workplace, you call it a cluster. Okay, if there is more than that, and then in a larger community, you call it, then na pumapasok yung definitions of epidemic, endemic, and pandemic. So you have to review those definitions. Okay, so I think that's the last slide. Hopefully, nadaanan nyo lang. Maikli lang to because it's just a short lecture of the one topic from the last one. Okay? Thank you.